Kahiwara, kahiwara, kahiwara ki tēnei tuku, kahiwara ki te rātuku. Kai whakapuru koe ki te toto, kai whakapuru koe ki te toto. Ko mahi naua te awa, ko mahi naua tai tumu tai pari. Ko mahi naua me ki te taonga tō mātou iwi a Ngāti Toa. Ko mahi naua wai heke ki Porirua mo ake tunu atu. Turu turu whakamaua kia tīna, haumi e hui e, tai ki e. I think the significance of this project from Ngāti Toa is about not forgetting what the space meant to us as a people. Before development came, before the introduction of many aspects of development for Porirua, we've got to remember that Takapuā here at Ngāti Toa were nestled on the side of the harbour, Porirua. And all the space here became a resource for their survival, for their everyday living. And this place here being a part of Mahinoa, the original river that flowed down through Rangituhi down to the ocean. This was all part and parcel of that area, where you had birds, where you had seafood, where you had gathering of all sorts of resources for the iwi. So it was always been a special place for us in regards to helping the survival of our people. With development, there was the infill of the harbour, there was a reclaiming of the harbour, it backed right up into this area here. So over time things have changed.
2015 and then again in 2016 we had really bad flooding that came down, flooded many of the schools and the businesses and the homes in and around this wetland here. The school behind us flooded 10 times over the last 5-6 years. That prompted the council to really say we need to do something serious about the flooding challenges that we've got here. This area here really loans itself to storing that flood water. But at the same time, there was a clear benefit that we could actually improve the water quality in the harbour by not just building a flood storage, but also building a wetland.
Well, as part of our value of tangata tiaki, we've been working with Porirua Council and Ngāti Toa to reduce the impact of flooding across the CBD and Takapuhahia for the marae and for the benefit of the residents there. So it has been quite a large project. Some of it has involved some piping from the CBD out to Te Awa o Porirua, which is the Porirua Harbour. Other parts have been around reducing the flooding on the marae and the whare around the marae, and then we've looked at how we can create a constructed wetland at the park, and that has the greater benefit, of course, of creating a green space for people of Porirua. It has also enabled us to provide a really cool natural environment and a natural way of treating stormwater before it heads to Te Awaroa o Porirua. It's really significant for us. This is the first kind of project that we've been involved with in a very long time, and introducing a natural way of treating water instead of putting it into pipes and having artificial treatment processes is fantastic.
The catchment for the wetland extends all the way up to the top of Rangituhi, so the Urukaka stream flows down through the forest up there and drops into a pipe around the back of Camp Elsdon. It then flows down through Elsdon, through around about 40 hectares of urban area. It's around about half residential and half commercial, and comes down and originally came through the pipe, which went out and was referred to as Semple Street Outfall.
The Semple Street Outfall, which is the stormwater pipe that drains a lot of the industrial area above the CBD here in Elsdon, and also a lot of the residential area. That is the second most contaminated point source of stormwater into the harbour. This wetland will intercept that flow and bring all of those contaminants and all of that stormwater into this wetland, and through the biological, chemical and physical processes that go on in a wetland, it's going to remove a lot of that contamination, whether it's heavy metals, whether it's litter, whether it's sediment, whether it's any of the stuff that gets put into stormwater by accident or on purpose, whether it's paint or oils or anything that runs off our streets.
Wetlands act like the kidney of the earth and provide essential functions for our cities because they purify stormwater before they make their way into our streams and harbors. Wetlands filter out sediment, prevent erosion, they filter out nutrients, they sequester carbon, they also return nitrogen back to the atmosphere.
As part of this project, we've had to lay 500 metres of stormwater main through to the harbour. We've also constructed the wetland, which required us to excavate 15,000 cubic metres of material, reuse 5,000 of those on site and transport 10,000 cubic metres to the landfill.
When it started digging for the wetland, the discovery was a Bitumen Road. Andy Dodd was called down, an archaeologist, and he confirmed the Bitumen Road. And I had a look at some of the history of that road, and effectively it was the remnant of the historical road that went around the shores of the harbour. The discovery of the road gave us an insight on the actual extent of Porirua Harbour, Te Awarua of Porirua. So the harbour used to come right up here.
Through in here, this bay was originally part of the coastline, and then more recently essentially a coastal wetland. As Porirua developed and land reclamation occurred, that wetland was covered up. But actually in the excavations, when the team dug down, they actually just coincidentally unearthed at exactly the same level as the original wetland, and you could still see the grasses and reeds that were in that wetland still there, buried after 70, 80 years. So there's around about 35,000 plants, and that's a mixture of around about 20,000 aquatic plants which grow permanently in the water, and around about 15,000 plants that grow on the edge and deal with different levels of flooding and things. On the far side there's a floodplain forest, and so there's a whole range of kakatea and pukatea and nico and things that during big rainfall events will actually go underwater. All of the plants are eco-sourced, so the seed for all of the plants came from probably around about sort of a 5 kilometre circumference around the sites, and the majority were grown at a community nursery, Tirito, just up the hill.
It is part one of a 3-stage project to improve the stormwater resilience of the area. Stage 1, which is the wetland and the stormwater pipeline that runs through to the harbour, which is about 500 metres, has been actually a great success. It's improved the resilience for the school over there and Marae over there, which you have had a history of flooding, but in the last big storms we've had over the last 6 months, they've suffered none, so that's been a success.
The wetland that we've got here today is a fundamental part of what we want to achieve in Porirua in cleaning up all of our streams and our stormwater that goes into the harbour. I would like all the businesses behind us over there to really think what they're putting into our stormwater systems. We have microplastics being dumped in there, microtextiles. We have lots of chemicals that are coming from industrial processes. I want those businesses to really think, what should I be doing to stop this in the first place? And council staff are there to help them if they want that. As a resident, it's thinking about, where do my garden chemicals go? Where does the litter go? And how do I stop that as a person? This wetland is the beginning of a brand new future. We've lost so many of these wetlands that have been fundamental to how we need to live. We've already got birds coming into the wetland. How fantastic is that? It's helping us, but it's helping nature.
The wetland provides another avenue to come and reconnect. It provides a place where we can come and think about our histories in regards to this area. I know that our people sung about mahi noa, and I know that our people had a dear connection. It was a route to the schools. It was a route into Wellington through the edges of the harbour here. And so this will provide an opportunity to reconnect, to come and tell stories, to look at the beautification of it all, and actually using water as a primary resource in this project. I think it's going to be enjoyed not only by the community but also Ngāti Toa.
I would like to thank everybody that's been involved for their passion and their mahi in this project, starting with Ngāti Toa for their support. Our colleagues at Porirua City Council have been fantastic throughout. We've had an engineering team that's been very excited for a number of years, and it's great to see it turn into fruition. We've also got our contractor whānau who have worked really hard and done the hard yards at the project to turn it into what you see today.